Good morning, everyone. Those of you on Instagram, thank you for joining us. Those of you on our Mastermind Zoom call, thank you so much for joining us. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship Class number 417. Wow. Our topic for today, and I'll call this our sleeper topic. Our topic for today is the power of showing up. And I'm going to make it more personal. Your power of showing up. We're going to go into that because the power of showing up is one of those talents that we often don't recognize that we have, but it's a talent that can make all the difference in our lives. We have a lot of people joining us on Zoom. Thanks so much. Beautiful, beautiful. A couple of things, just some housekeeping things. Number one, a lot of our talks are based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. And I want to let everybody know that over this month, this year, one of our own personal goals was to get all of the books that we have in our head out there. And I know that many of you who are listening today have books in your head, have ideas in your head, have stories in your head that can help other people. So this has been our year for getting books out. We publish other people's books, we publish our own, but this is a year to stop sitting on your treasures and let the world know. So just a couple. The Life Lessons for Your Success is now available online. Our fiction series, Tales from the Outskirts of Life, A Tear for Ethan, online. And one of our people that we published, a new author called Wanderella, who writes, you might say, sensual mystery books online, all under the branding of Tales from the Outskirts of Life. And since it is Black History Month, another book that we wrote called Solving the Race Issue in America is there. And I'm sharing that for a number of reasons. One, because each and every one of you has a book inside, has something inside that you should go ahead and share. And one of the most amazing things about being an author is that once you've done it, don't worry about trying to make it perfect, but once you've done it and people start reading it, folks will come to you and they'll say, wow, I am so glad you wrote that. I needed to hear that. So don't keep sitting on your treasures. Reach out to me if you need help. If you want to write your book, reach out to me, herbertharris.com, and schedule a success consultation because you have greatness within you. Before we go on with our topic today, let me do our meditation so that we can put our minds and our hearts and our spirits in this place where we can be open and receptive to all the good that comes to us. So let's close our outer eyes, open our inner eyes, sit straight up in our seats, take a deep breath, let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Just let that peace sink. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Once more, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. This topic is one that has really sparked my attention because the power of showing up is one of those very profound powers that we have a tendency to overlook. It doesn't require any special talent. You don't need degrees, no special resources. But this power of showing up is a power that has built empires, that has created businesses, that has written books, bestsellers, that's created movies. This power of showing up is a power that each and every one of us has. And when we use it effectively, it can make us giants in getting things done. All right. Okay, here we go. Great. So now, as we think about this idea, this power of showing up is something that you don't do occasionally. It's not emotional. It's not even when it's convenient. The power of showing up is most effective when you do it consistently. I'll give you a quote. Consistency is the foundation of manifestation. Let's say that again. Consistency is the foundation of manifestation. So showing up is one of the most probably underrated powers that you have. We applaud brilliance and talent and charisma, but trust me, behind every outrageously successful person is a long history of invisible attendance, a long history of showing up. I often say you have to show up to go up. When you show up consistently, you will rise consistently. So today we're going to explore the power of showing up, how it works for you, and how to build on it to create the life that you desire. Showing up basically does three things. Number one, showing up creates identity. So you don't become great by one dramatic act. You become great because of repeated presence. I love Michael Jordan. He grew up here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And when he was in high school, they actually cut him from the team. Literally, once they cut him from the team, he could have quit. He could have said, wow, there are guys taller than I am. There are guys smarter than I am. There are guys that have a lot more talent than I have. But he did something extraordinary. He said, I'm going to practice. I'm going to work. I'm going to get to the gym before everybody else does. He says, I'm going to work some extra hours. I'm going to stay later. I'm going to watch other people who are good at it. So long before there were championships, long before there was Nike, he was in the gym consistently. If you ever, when you talk about around Wilmington, about the people in Wilmington who knew Michael Jordan, the one thing they said was that guy rehearsed and practiced all the time. He showed up all the time. And so excellence is not an event. Excellence is consistency. It's all about work ethic. One of the great ones said, I really respect a man's work ethic greater than his education, greater than his brilliance, because work ethic is the key to getting things done. So let's look at this idea. If showing up helps create your identity, a key part of showing up then is who you are Show up for yourself. You know, we show up for meetings. We show up for other people. We show up for obligations. But do you show up for yourself? Do you show up for your own dreams? That's the message today. Are you showing up for you? Do you show up for your own health, for your good health, by consistent exercise? Do you show up for your calling? You know, there's always that gift, that talent that we have, and we can identify it often by the things that we love doing. So often we can get sidetracked in life. Life can just sort of get in the way and interfere with the things we love doing. And sometimes that life can become so demanding that you put the things that you love, your calling, on the side. Well, showing up says show up for you. Focus on your calling. Do the things you love doing. Do you show up for your own spiritual growth? You know, those of us who are on this great path of realization, we come to that point where we say to ourselves, I need to be better. I need to learn. I need to practice. I need to master certain skills, because once I do them, my life will change. So, are you showing up for you? Don't abandon your dreams because of other people's expectations. Don't abandon your dreams because of the demands of the external world. Know that when you focus on your dreams, your purpose, the things for which you were created, everything else organizes itself around you. And you'll find that you become magnetic for that you desire. But most importantly, the most important audience that you have is you. Self-respect grows when you keep promises to yourself. Confidence increases when you honor your commitments to yourself. Integrity strengthens when your actions match your intentions. So this idea of showing up, show up for you. Now, you know, success is relational, and you have to show up for other people also. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know, in the Bible, there's a scripture that says, Jesus says, well, who do people say I am? Well, people will judge you by the way you interact with them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So who do people say you are? A parent who attends a recital for their child without saying a word shows a profound commitment. My daughter used to say, my dad will drive 500 miles to hear me do a speech. You know, in church in those days, the kids did the Christmas program, the Easter program, and I've always felt that obligation. I know many of us on here are parents, and, you know, one of the most profound things we can do for our kids is to show up at those events, you know, and not judging, just showing up to show appreciation. A spouse or a friend who listens communicates a sense of security and compassion. A friend who arrives during a crisis creates a lifetime trust. There was a politician that I worked with many years ago, and people said, well, what's the story? What's up? You know, what's the secret to his success? Why do people love this politician so much? And they loved him so much because he always showed up. He showed up at birthdays. He showed up at funerals. He showed up at confirmations. His constituents really felt inside that he cared. So relationships thrive on presence. So when you show up in relationships, you've created a profound tool to build on. You see, you can't outsource showing up. You can't automate showing up. You can't schedule when you're going to be emotionally available. You either show up or you don't. But the quality of your relationships, your ability to pull people together to get things done, depends profoundly on your ability to show up in their lives. The second key to this power of showing up is that showing up builds momentum. When someone commits to doing something like walking 20 minutes a day, nothing dramatic happens on day 1, day 2, even day 5. But by day 30, something happens. By day 30, there's a habit established. By day 30, there's a shift. By day 30, when you walk, you feel inspired and elevated and motivated. You see, confidence grows as your identity changes. So once you get into the habit of doing good things for yourself, you become more confident about everything you do. The scripture says those who are dutiful about little things can be entrusted with big things. Even in business, I know we have a lot of network marketers on today, and even businesses, a person who makes 5 calls every day will outperform one who makes 50 calls once a month. You see, the idea of systematic and daily activity, of showing up in a regular, consistent basis, it literally compounds. Consistency compounds. It's like compound interest. One of the great financial gurus said that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. In other words, in compound interest, daily compound interest, each day, whatever the interest pays for that day, it's included as principal for the next day. And so you're getting interest on the interest on the interest on the interest. Well, life works like that. When you do things consistently, you have a compound effect. And that compound effect now brings about compound results. And so the results you get are not what you do today, but it's the compound effect that's a little bit better each and every day. There's a powerful affirmation, and it says, every day and every way I get better and better. I know that Michael Jordan did it. When he would go to the gym early and leave late, he didn't get better the next day or the next week or the next month, but over time, he became who he is. Psychology tells us that small, repeated actions wire the brain. Every time you complete a task, your brain reinforces that behavior. Every time you complete a task, your brain ingrains it in your habit patterns until it becomes automatic. You notice that once you're on that success path, you don't really need an alarm clock. You tend to wake up before the clock goes off. Why is that? Because you have gotten into the habit of consistency. One showing up is small, but 100 showing ups can change the world. Showing up also shows you a way to handle rejection. You know, when things don't go the way they thought they would, the power of showing up reveals itself when things don't go your way. J.K. Rowling was turned down, 12 times. Her manuscript was rejected time and time again. Many people would have stopped. How many of us, if we look back on our lives, how many times have you failed repeatedly? But he didn't. But he didn't. He did something else. He started Pixar. He started doing animation. And a lot of the animations we have today, we can attribute to the fact that Steve Jobs got fired from Apple years ago. Abraham Lincoln. You know, when you look at a president, I think he was the 16th president, the president that changed the course of this country. Well, he failed at just about everything. He failed at business. He lost elections. He had personal tragedies, but he kept showing up for public service. Winston Churchill said, success is your ability to move from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. Third point, showing up gets results. The world sees performance, but success begins in preparation. I saw a quote once said that success is 2% inspiration and 98% perspiration, 98% preparation. So the truth of life is you don't become disciplined because you feel disciplined. You don't become consistent because you feel consistent. You become disciplined because you show up repeatedly. You show up whether you feel like it or not. You show up whether it's a sunny day or a rainy day. You see, when you show up consistently, your behavior becomes your identity. I'm going to say that again. When you show up consistently, your behavior becomes your identity. You don't try to be a writer. You write daily. You don't try to be healthier. You exercise daily. You don't try to be a leader. You serve daily. So the difference between those who succeed and those who just end the game, it's rarely about talent. It's more about consistency. It's more about tolerance. So, Doc, what do you mean it's about tolerance? Well, it's about tolerance for rejection. As Thomas Edison said, I have never failed. You know, they said you have failed to identify this filament thing over 3,000 times. He flipped the script. He said, I've never failed at anything. I've successfully identified 3,000 ways that will not work. Success is about tolerance for discomfort. When Muhammad Ali had his big fights, the boxers go into their training camps, 6 to 8 weeks, where they eat certain things, they exercise every day, they build their endurance. Tolerance for delay. You know, there's a beautiful passage and it says, it's not how many times I stumble down, it's the number of times I pick myself up off the ground and keep moving on to meet my goals. So showing up says you refuse to quit. You refuse to withdraw. Just because the outcome has not arrived yet, you hang in there. Showing up is a demonstration of faith. You know, the faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But when you keep showing up and doing it every day after day after day, that demonstration of faith creates results. Success is rarely explosive. It's always accumulative. 10 minutes a day of reading equals 60 hours a year. 5 sales calls per day equals over 1,000 per year. 30 minutes of exercise every day is over 182 hours of movement a year. So showing up turns small actions into massive results over time. Showing up turns small actions into massive results over time. We often overestimate what can happen in a week. I know sometimes we set our weekly goals based on our needs. You know, I remember in network marketing, I was in a company and you know what you say, when your outflow exceeds your income, your upkeep becomes your downfall. And I needed I'm like, I'm gonna make $5,000 this week. Didn't happen. Okay. But when I estimated how much I was going to make that year, I grossly underestimated because the power of cumulative action took place. The key was I didn't quit. I didn't make that $5,000 that week. But over time, over the year, we had an incredible results. So the miracle is not in the moment. The miracle is really in the repetition, in the hanging in there, and the ability to keep showing up. When you consistently show up, opportunity finds you. Someone once said, luck is really about working until something happens. That when you consistently show up, opportunity finds you, not because of luck, not because of fate, but it shows up because presence increases probability. It's like if you keep swinging, you're going to hit one sooner or later. You know, in marketing, we often call it SENLOA, safety in numbers. You know, I often tell the story of the great network marketer, Bill Britt. And Bill said that his residual income was about $6 million a year. And he said, someone asked him, what's the secret? How do you create massive wealth? He said, well, I have done 1,200 presentations. 900 people said no. 300 people said yes. Of the 300 people who said yes, 82 of them did a little something. 85 did a little something. 215 went into witness protection. Of the 85 who did a little something, 35 did a lot, created lifetime income. But of the 35 who did a lot, 11 of them made him a millionaire. And so safety in numbers, SENLOA, safety in numbers and law of averages. If you're consistent and you show up, then the numbers begin to work on your behalf. And you say, well, hey, you close 25% of the deals. Well, then the more deals you do, the more you close. When you attend like industry gatherings, you meet other people, you get inspired. When you post online consistently, your audience grows. When you practice daily, your skill improves. When you serve faithfully, trust builds. So this idea of showing up is powerful because showing up makes you visible. And visibility creates opportunity. You see, the more you show up, the more energy you create, the more visible you become, the more opportunities are attracted your way. And that means that people then begin to recommend you because you're reliable. People invest in you because you're consistent. And people trust you to show up. So now if showing up is so powerful, how can you increase your ability to show up? How can you get even better at it? 3 keys. Number 1, lower the barrier. Start small. Whatever changes you want to make, start small. If you want to write, then commit to write 300 words a week. And do it every week. In 10 weeks, you have 3,000 words. In 10 months, you have 30,000. That's a good book. If you want to exercise, commit to 10 minutes a day. You see, small is sustainable. So create a target, a goal that you can consistently make. Because once you get into the compound effect, you can then increase, as they say, upscale. Number 2, whatever the activity is, schedule it. What gets scheduled gets done. If you don't schedule, it doesn't get done. See, showing up can't be a vague intention. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be rich. That's a vague intention. Showing up says I'm gonna make 10 calls a day. I'm gonna write a book every other month, or a book a year. Then third is track it. And track it in a visible way. So if you put an X on your calendar, every day you complete your commitment for that day. And you watch those X's grow, it motivates you. It inspires you. And then it's about protect the chain. I want to have X's across every day of my calendar. It then inspires you to act. Ben Franklin was very powerful. He said something. Success loves structure. Anybody who creates massive income often creates a system. Success loves structure. And Ben Franklin said it was real simple. He said, wake up early, work hard, reflect on your progress, go to sleep, then wake up early, work hard, reflect on your progress, and go to sleep. In other words, rinse and repeat. You do that daily, nothing is impossible. So let's wrap up. The 3 keys to showing up is that showing up creates your identity for success. That identity that makes you magnetic for the things you desire. Number 2, showing up builds momentum, which helps you overcome obstacles, helps you overcome disappointment. Number 3, showing up gets results. The proof is always in the pudding. Someone once said, liars may figure, but figures don't lie. So you don't need more talent. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need ideal circumstances. You just need consistency. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. One more blow, one more step, one more round. But it's hidden behind the discipline of daily presence, of daily showing up. So show up when you're tired. Show up when you're not sure. Show up when the results are slow. Show up when no one is looking. Show up when there's no applause. Because the world will reward you. The world rewards those who stay in the game long enough for progress to compound. The world rewards those who keep plucking, keep flapping their wings every day until they finally get off the ground. You see, progress comes from compound effort. History remembers the consistent ones. Business rewards the reliable, and relationships honor the available. So the future is yours, my friend. This day, this message, this power of showing up is simply a choice by you. A choice by you to say, I will show up no matter what. Not occasionally, not emotionally, not conveniently, but consistently. Because when you show up, consistency will do the rest. And you will truly be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. So it is. Let's just take a deep breath for a moment. Let it out. Thank you so much for being with us today. This program, The Power of Showing Up, is something that's been in my heart and in my spirit, because that is one of the keys to outrageous success. Be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com. And don't forget our 82nd trip around the sun, our 82nd birthday legacy project. Definitely don't forget about that, herbertharris.info, and you can learn more about that. We appreciate your support, and we would love to have you a part of this great journey to help the world be a better place. to uplift the lives of everyone on the planet so that everyone will realize that they have the power to be, do, and have anything they desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com, and schedule a success consultation so that I can talk with you.